Hello everybody and welcome back. Today is an exciting day because I am going to show you half of my new arsenal. You could make an arsenal out of these, but I have 9 balls right now that I'm very excited to share and display. For today I have 5 of them in here, and it's gonna come as a little bit of a shock because they are not storm balls.
Take me to Candyland, ooh, take me to Candyland. Sweeter than sugar, you doing that dancey dance.
I have some brands of Brunswick balls today, and all 9 that I'm going to be showing eventually are, but in this part 1, we're going to be talking about these 5 specifically. To introduce them, I'm gonna go in order to earliest, biggest hooking balls to the least. For starters, the first ball I have here today is a Mesmerize, and I'll put the numbers up here for the numbers people. But the Mesmerize would be a good go-to big ball, on the heavier oil patterns you're throwing. If you don't know what you're bowling on, maybe it'll be the first ball out of your bag to give you the most information. And by that, I'm not talking benchmark, because obviously it's a bit bigger than your typical benchmark ball. But talking about benchmark balls, in my opinion, that would be this number 2 ball, the Envy Tour. And I've played around a bit with surfaces on this, and I like it a lot. Right now, I think there's a used 1000 on it. Nothing crazy, but that would be the 2 ball. Next down the line, and bear with me because I'm still learning these balls, but I think the next biggest ball would be the Wicked Collision. And again, numbers and everything here. And then number 4 would be the Theorem, and then number 5 would be Stealth Hybrid. So those are the 5 we're going to be throwing today. I've thrown these balls a bit so far, but I'm planning on using them in tournament play for the first time this weekend in Nebraska. That is a singles tournament and a doubles tournament. First is the doubles tournament, which I'll put the information here, and then next there is the singles tournament, which I'll put here again. I did bowl this last year. I went up with Connor and Sierra, and Sorge and I bowled doubles, and this is the vlog here if you want to go back and watch an oldie. Nonetheless, I'm super excited to, branch out and try some different equipment. I've been limited to storm balls for the last, I don't even know, 4 years maybe. And if you didn't know, back when I was in high school, I was actually on Brunswick staff for a while, and then I was also on Hammer staff. And that was before the companies all merged. So super cool that I get to try all this equipment. And yeah, I'm looking forward to see how they roll. And again, this weekend, seeing how we do in tournament play with them. Let's give these a go and see how they differ. Also, disclaimer, this is just a house shot. I don't even know if they've been oiled, truthfully, but nevertheless, we're throwing them all in the same thing, and we can see how different they are. Game 1 with the Mesmerize, and I was just gonna throw a bunch of shots with all of them to show you how they rolled, but to make it more interesting, I thought we can bowl a game with each of them. Through the first 5, I have double 4-pin, strike, light 7-pin. So again, this is the Mesmerize big early ball, and I think it makes sense that progressively, as I break down the lanes where I'm playing and move left and want to see it shape a bit more off the back, that we go in that order, like a typical tournament good bowl. So that's the idea, and yeah, let's keep going. 259 with the Mesmerize. That's incredible. To start this next game, I'm not giving myself any practice shots or anything in between ball changes, so we're just gonna go right to the NV Tour and see what happens. Obviously a big miss by me. I missed further right than I had been throwing it. But again, I had a couple misses like that with the Mesmerize, and it didn't see it off of the friction as hard because it is such a big early ball and it lost energy before it got to the friction. Whereas with the NV Tour, again, it's a bit longer, not as early as the Mesmerize, so it makes sense that when it saw the friction, it was a bit sharper. So I'm just gonna try to keep doing what I have been doing, which is not throwing it that far right and playing in the holes a bit more. So that looks pretty good, and I haven't moved from where I was with the Mesmerize, so that's a good sign. Again, it is the fine china, but we started with the first 3 strikes, and then I missed right and 3 6-10, so that's good. We're 2 games in, 2 balls in, and my low score so far is 257. So that's crazy. I have missed 3 times in 2 games. That's with switching balls. And obviously a big miss to the right, which I found, I missed it to the right a couple times, but if it gets there too early, then it's just gonna jump off the friction. But that's great. 277 that game after 259 with the Mesmerize. So next we're gonna go into the Wicked Collision, and I think I'm gonna move like 2-1 with it, just because if it misses right, I know it's gonna jump off it and go through the face, because again, we're getting into the balls where they're gonna go a bit longer and really store a lot of energy and make a big shape off the back. So honestly, I think I'll just move 2 actually, not 2-1, just 2 to kind of open up the angles and see it make that shape. So hopefully that is the right answer, but let's throw a shot and see. I thought I missed that by a mile left. I guess that 2-board move was good, so we're gonna stick with that. that looks good. And then 2, 4, 5, what was it, 10 pin, 10 pin, 10 pin? I think so. Need to get the ball going through the pocket a bit better. So I think I'm gonna try to use some of that friction to the right a bit more. So obviously, again, with the weaker balls, they're not gonna have as easy of a time through that oil. So I think now is when I want to start using the friction a bit more. So I think slower ball speed and getting it further right. We're gonna try that. I tried to slow down, wrap 10, missed it. That's obviously not on the ball. And then I tried to move right and throw it hard and left a 5 pin. But on the spare shot, I tried to really get it out a bit further right. So what do we got here? We're on pace for 180. Strike, 7 spare, 5 9 counts in a row. But we can throw the back 5, 4, 9 OT, 215. Let's try to do that. I am, again, just going to try to throw it to the right. I'm not very good at it yet, but I'm going to try to do that and see if we can get some strikes to end this game and save this ball's credibility. Even though, I don't know, this has been my favorite ball that I've thrown so far, so this is not what I was expecting, but we're going to, I don't know, try to throw it to the right and then try to get our scores back up with the other balls. Salvaged 204 out of that one, so looking back, it was definitely just me trying to play that hold too much with this ball, and towards the end, you know, those 3 strikes in a row near the end there, that really showcased for me what the ball actually does. And the rest of it, I think I could have just played around with my hand positions or my speed a little bit more to see that shape at the end more consistently. But overall, again, that has been my favorite ball so far. I love it. And that, don't judge her off that 200. Next, we're going to go into the theorem. And Eric actually hit this with 3,000 yesterday or 2 days ago. And I think that helped. He uses the term break the cover a bit, but it's rolled a lot better since we've hit that with 3,000, so I'm excited to see what this one does too. Let's see, high score at the moment, 277, so let's see if we can beat it. open in the 10th. Hit the pocket every shot. In my opinion, a 4.9, you still hit the pocket. It's just a little high. But yeah, I mean, I moved one board left, I think, in like the 8th frame, just because my ball looked like it was gonna come high and leave a 4-pin, and sure enough, I moved left and it still hooked too much. So next up is the Track Stealth Hybrid, and this has been another favorite of mine. This has probably been my second favorite ball I've been throwing behind the Wicked Collision. And we'll see. Again, score to beat 277, but overall, I mean, these balls are striking a ton, so this is great. Let's try to keep striking. Again, I'm not going to move with that because the theorem's hooking too much, so I assume if I stand in the same spot, throw the weaker ball, should look okay, but you never know. Bowling on the fine china, there's probably a bunch of things I could do different, but ultimately I'm just trying to see my ball get to the pocket and go through the pins the right way. Also, I know this is super late in the video, but all of the equipment I'm throwing is 15 pounds. The only exception being a 16-pound black hammer I have that I haven't even thrown in competition or barely even in practice. So 15 pounds will be what you see me throwing. And again, a lot of people have been asking, so I thought I would throw that in there. One more game, let's see what we can get to. Okay, wow, I think that is the biggest difference in shapes from ball to ball we've seen so far. That went super long. And I threw it a bit faster, but not super fast. So I'm gonna try and slow the speed down and see if we can see the shape of it better. I was a little worried about that. I missed right. It never hooked. I guess that's a good thing. That's kind of the point of this ball, is to be super weak and not do a whole bunch. But the spare shot, that has to be one of my biggest pet peeves. I hate being too accurate. It's tough. So let's try to throw the next 6 strikes to see this ball a bit more. We struck out for 265 that game with the Stealth Hybrid, and I have to retract my statement about missing right and it not hooking, because I think it was the 8th or 9th frame. I missed a bunch right and it still came back, so maybe that was a combination with where it got to with some friction and my speed, but overall, sick. Super excited to start throwing these in competition. I feel like I've been in kind of a slump with not having the equipment I need to you know, keep up on patterns and chase transition and all of that. So super excited about these, and again, this is just part 1. There will be a part 2 coming soon with 4 other balls that you can make an arsenal out of. And yeah, comment below if you have any of these balls or if you're looking into any of these balls, and let me know what to drill next. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.